Imagine a square where millions of voices scream at the same time. Some laugh, some cry, some scream with anger. This is Twitter, a place where revolutions are born, where careers are destroyed, where one word can lift a person to the top or destroy them forever. And now Elon Musk enters this chaos. Not as an observer, like the captain of a ship that crashes into a storm. He buys Twitter, and the whole world freezes. For some, he is a genius, for some, a madman. But it is definitely not a story about peace. This is a story about fall and rebirth, about chaos and a new order, about a man who dared to challenge everyone and turn a bird into an empire with one letter, X. You know, it all started not with numbers or business plans. It started with a feeling. I sat up at night, scrolling through Twitter, and saw that it was more than a social network. It was the arena of the world. Here jokes were born, scandals erupted, news broke. It was a place where the president and an ordinary student had the same rostrum. And inside me a thought matured. What? How to make this a real digital square of freedom? People said, Twitter is small, it's not that profitable, it's secondary. But I saw something else. I saw the power of words. Imagine one tweet, button, and millions of eyes catching your thoughts. This is not just a business. This is the nervous system of the planet. And then a crazy idea was born, to buy it. Everyone around was laughing. Analysts, investors, friends, they were twiddling their thumbs. Elon, this is a disaster. There are some problems there. And you know, there was a catch. When everyone says impossible, the fire inside me only burns brighter. I remember the moment I first made the offer to buy Twitter. It was like dropping a bomb into a silent room. Stocks shuddered, headlines exploded. Some called it a joke, others called it a hoax. And I smiled because I knew I had already taken the first step. And that's when the first crises began. Negotiations became a war. Twitter management desperately resisted. I was attacked in the media, made fun of, and my every word was dissected. And there was a moment when I almost backed down myself. But there is a truth. If you feel that this is your path, go all the way. Because every great story begins like this. With an idea that no one believes in. With a dream that everyone calls crazy. And then the most important thing comes into play. Your determination. Moment when the whole world laughs at you. You haven't even taken a step yet, and you've already been written off. That's what happened to me when I said I was going to buy Twitter. In an instant, I became a target. The media was screaming that this was the biggest joke in the history of business. The stock market was crazy, investors were pressing, partners were asking if I was crazy. Twitter itself hated me even before I became an owner. The company's top brass would lock themselves in their offices, plotting how to stop me. Employees would whisper in the hallways, looking at me like an enemy. I could feel their fear and contempt. And so I was faced with a choice, to retreat and save my image or to go all the way and risk everything. I won't tell you the truth, it was scary. Every headline, every article, every expert was saying, this is going to be a disaster. A voice was saying in my head, maybe they're right. But you know, I've always had one principle. If the world says no, it means you're on the right track. And then I took a step that any normal businessman would refuse. I signed the deal. $44 billion. No right of withdrawal. At that moment, I felt as if the bridge behind me had burned down. There was no way back. And then there was an explosion. The media was going crazy, politicians were screaming, investors were tearing up their phones. Everyone was waiting for me to fail. And I said to myself, okay, if you want a show, you'll get it. Because real stories begin where others run away. Remember that day? I walked into Twitter headquarters with a sink in my hand. It was a joke, but it was also a signal. Let that sink in, let it reach you. No one laughed. The eyes of the employees were filled with fear. To them, I was not a savior, but a storm that would sweep away everything they knew. And I didn't hide the truth. I told them straight up, Twitter is bankrupt. Either we change everything now, or we'll be gone tomorrow. The silence in the room was heavier than any words. They expected me to lie, to reassure, to make sweet promises. But I threw a cold fact at them. The ship is sinking. And my first actions were drastic, ruthless. Mass layoffs. Half of the staff disappeared in a matter of days. Some cried. Some cursed me on social media. Some publicly called me a monster. And you know what? I didn't stop. Because when the ship is broken, you don't have time for sentimentality. Advertisers were fleeing. Money was melting. The world was screaming, Twitter is dying. My critics were savoring every failure. Sometimes even I had a hard time believing it would survive. But in chaos, there is always birth. I started rebuilding everything. The code, the policy, the product. Every little thing. I slept on the couch in the office. I ate pizza out of a box. I worked nights. The hallways smelled of coffee and fear. Some people left, others stayed and started fighting with me. That was the moment I realized Twitter is not just a social network. It's a battleground for the future of information. And if I have to drown a bird to build something new, I'll do it. Because there was no way back here. Only forward, only through chaos. One morning, the blue bird was removed from the facade of the office. Without announcements, without pathos. Just a crane, a crack of metal, and the symbol of an entire era fell to the asphalt. People filmed it with their phones, some cried, others laughed, but everyone understood. Something had ended forever. Twitter is dead. X is born. To the world, it looked like a crime against memory. Because Twitter is not just an app. It was the story of millions. Revolutions began here. People said goodbye to loved ones here. Friendships were born here, and careers were destroyed here. And in an instant, this world was gone. I saw the words in the feed. You killed a bird. Someone wrote that he had lost his home, that Twitter was the only place he could talk, and now everything was destroyed. And it was hard. The tragedy was real. For many, this day became a funeral. But I knew, to give birth to the new, you have to kill the old. And that hurts. It always hurts. X became my scar. A symbol of the fact that I had made a choice that most would have refused. The bird was too weak, too yesterday. And X is a wound and a hope at the same time. The letter that always raised questions, always hid something more. Imagine night. Black facade. Instead of a bird, a huge X is burning. Hard, cold, ruthless. This is no longer a nice social network. This is a challenge. This is a sign that there is no way back. And yes, some cursed me. Some called me a brand executioner. But I understood, tragedy is part of any rebirth. History does not move forward without victims. Twitter is dead. But on its ruins we began to build an empire of chaos. And that's why it lives on. Everyone expected a crash. The world expected X to collapse under the pressure of chaos, for people to disperse, for investors to leave again. But something unexpected happened. Despite the loss of the bird and the terrible tragedy of Twitter, people stayed. They came because they felt the energy. It wasn't just an app, it was chaos, living, breathing, beating. And I saw how even those who cursed me yesterday now look at X with both respect and fear. We launched the first large-scale features. AI integration, financial services, video, messenger. Every step was a risk. Every mistake was a threat to the company. But breakthroughs are born in chaos. I remember the first day after the rebranding. Servers were burning, systems were crashing, critics were laughing, and I was sitting in a dark office, fixing another bug in the code and thinking, if we survive today, everything will change tomorrow. And we survived. It was the moment when the world realized X is more than a platform. It is a digital civilization. People began to understand the scope of the vision. Here you can talk, buy, work, influence. One platform that encompasses all of life. And most importantly, this breakthrough was born out of tragedy, out of chaos, out of criticism and fear. Without the bird, without the old Twitter, without the fear of failure, we would never have reached this moment. Because a real breakthrough is always painful. And only those who are ready to look into the abyss and rush forward can create it. The world is always ready to criticize. Even after X survived and became a new force, the problems did not disappear. Advertising fled, stocks fluctuated, politicians staged public showdowns, and the courts threatened to block every step. Every day was like standing on the edge of a cliff, with the wind at your back, pulling you down. Employees left, new ones came, and I continued to move the platform forward. It seemed like the whole world wanted to see us fail. Sometimes even I wanted to back down, but then I remembered that we had been through much worse chaos and survived. It was hard. Days without sleep, conferences with critics, a flood of negativity on social media, articles about the end of X. But in all this chaos, opportunities were born. Each problem forced us to be faster, more creative, more determined. I understood the main thing. An empire born from chaos will never be calm. And that's okay. We are not for peace. We are for action. And while the critics didn't shut up, the users stayed. They saw that X was more than a platform. It was a battlefield, an arena, a space of freedom. We took risks, fell, got back up, and that's what created the power. Today, X stands at the intersection of technology and culture. It's not just a social network. It's an empire of chaos that continues to grow, because chaos is not the end, it's the beginning. Today, Twitter no longer exists. In its place, X is a symbol of a new time, a symbol of what is born from chaos. People still argue, criticize, sometimes curse, but no one can ignore it. I look at the screen at night, when the office is quiet, and I realize, this is just the beginning. We are creating a super app, a platform that combines news, messenger, finance, artificial intelligence. A place where you can do almost anything, where one app becomes the digital space of life. I'm often asked, why are you taking so many risks? Why not leave the old Twitter behind? The answer is simple. If you want to change the world, you have to have the courage to break the rules, burn down old symbols, and create new ones. That's how a true empire is born. We have already been through chaos, loss, criticism, tragedy, and now every new day is a new challenge and a new opportunity. X continues to grow because it is not created for comfort, but for movement forward, for action. And the main thing I realized, empire is not just about money or users. It's about the courage to do what others are afraid to do, about the ability to fall and rise stronger, about finding order even in chaos. Because this story is not just about Musk or X. It's about each of us. That true success is the courage to change and move forward, even when the whole world laughs in your face. Even the boldest ideas start with a small step. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. This story is not just about Elon Musk or Twitter becoming X. It's about each of us. About the courage to make choices when there's chaos all around. About the ability to fall, get back up, and turn tragedy into strength. Because true success is not comfort or peace. True success is moving forward, even when the world laughs in your face. And remember, an empire is born where chaos becomes your ally and courage your weapon.